Hello everybody and welcome to another Transformers knockoff review. Today I finally get around to reviewing the Wei Jiang Oversized Combiner War First Aid and Streetwise. Now I ordered these from Sir Toys. I will include a link in the description below to both of these figures. Now that I have these two in my collection, I can now get rid of the blue Rook figure that came with the set. I named him Brook because it's Blue Rook. Anyway, get rid of him, and then we can get rid of Alpha Bravo as well. We don't need Alpha Bravo in our team. These are nice. First Aid especially has a huge amount of die-cast in this back section. There's just a ridiculous amount. Now, they're not without the faults. Doesn't roll particularly well. The plastic quality of these, I don't know, is pretty much on par with the Combiner Wars figures from Hasbro. Maybe even a little denser. They've gone a little bit overkill with some of the spraying. I'll share that when we get to the bot mode. Some missing on the inside of these legs. But it's First Aid, you know, it's exactly what we need from a oversized Combiner Wars figure. He has the oversized ports, so we can still peg in the likes of the feet and gun sections. He does come with an axe, because we all know that First Aid carries an axe, I guess. I don't know. When has he ever carried an axe? It doesn't peg in there. I was hoping it would. There we go. We can just peg that into the side there, like so. Now, Streetwise is probably a little bit less like his G1 persona, I guess. I don't know. I mean, First Aid definitely has the better head sculpt in bot mode, but both are kind of modern interpretations, I guess. He rolls a little better at the front. His back wheels don't really want to roll, but that, again, that may be my base that I'm using for the reviews. He comes with a gun and, of course, a foot hand. Underside, pretty much what we'd like to expect. These tabs do not really tab in as well as they should, but overall, it's a nice interpretation of Streetwise. I was kind of hoping they were going to release a groove with this set as well, just so I can get rid of the oversized version of Rook. I just kind of want a more G1 inspired Protectobots team. I don't know when we're going to get a masterpiece, a kind of scale and style version of the Protectobots. So these guys are going to be standing in my masterpiece collection, just standing in there with the Season 3 bots, just until we get a half-decent third-party version, or maybe even a version from Takara. Quick scale comparison for those who have asked, does this set scale with the Masterpiece figures? It's not far off. I don't think that's a completely terrible look. Now, of course, these are much more modern, and they're cheap, aren't they? You know, we've got this blacked-out plastic here. It's very similar to the likes of the Hello Carbots or something like that, if you've ever had a chance to play around with those. And of course, Wei Jiang have now done the Crafty again, and they're now doing the Titans Return Headmasters oversized as well. I've been told they're around 17 centimeters per figure, so I mean, they're not overly far off these figures as well. Now, in terms of transformation, these aren't the most complexing of figures to transform, but they are kind of stiff. Not that that's a bad thing. Sometimes it's nice to have stiff joints. I just didn't really feel the need for stiff joints on a figure like this. We do have a die-cast section here. This is die-cast. There's not a great deal of die-cast in Streetwise. I think that's pretty much all the die-cast he has in him. I think it's just probably this chest section here. First Aid definitely has the most die-cast in my opinion. Like I say, this is exactly the same transformation as we got with the Combiner Wars figures. So, you know, it's not as simple as a 3-step changer, but by no means is this even remotely difficult to transform. And we can just bring in his gun, slide that into his hand, and there we go. We can have him just kind of holding that and striking a pose. And then we can bring in first aid. Let's remove the completely unnecessary axe, split these legs, and then bring that down. I do like the remold on first aid. It's a pretty nice take on him, and it's definitely one of the best head sculpts out of this line. Don't know why they couldn't have done the heads all G1 inspired, but hey, let's just rotate that around. See, that's fantastic. That's pretty much spot on, isn't it? And then we can just bring this section down, just connect those, and just sort out that backpack section. And there we have first aid and his axe. But I mean, literally all of this section here is die-cast on him. Now, the problem with paint is not visible, but it's on this inside leg here. They've kind of given up. They're not bothered painting. Oh, and you can see the kind of spray there where they just sprayed over the die-cast. I would have liked maybe a better finish on that, but it's all hidden away, and beggars cannot be choosers. If you never owned the Combiner Wars version, the articulation is pretty much identical. You get ball jointed heads, so you can get a fairly nice range of motion there. We get ball joints on the shoulders. We get a ratchet joint on the elbow. There is an elbow rotation as well. No ab crunch because this section here is fixed. The legs come forwards on friction joint. This is not as tight as I would like due to the big heft of the legs. Out on a friction, upper thigh rotation. I believe there's actually a ratchet joint in here, but it's so soft. It's almost like a friction joint. That's not great at all. Streetwise is pretty much the same, all bar a nice soft ratchet on the knee, much better than what we got with first aid. Again, you get the waist swivel on this guy. First aid didn't have that. And we get the ball mounted shoulders, we get an upper bicep rotation, we get a bend on the elbow. It's not a great bend due to this section here kind of clashing, which is a bit of a shame. So it's more or less a 90-degree turn, and we get the fists going out and inwards, and of course we get that same ball jointed head, only he has a little bit less range than first aid. And here they are all together as a Protectobot team. Now, Rook really does look out of place, doesn't he? He just looks like some random beefed up Autobot that's just joined their ranks. I really need a groove in this collection, and we also need some face sculpts, whether somebody's going to do them on Shapeways or whether we get an official release of face sculpts. Maybe BB7 or somebody like that could do an upgrade kit for this. Now, I know that I believe it's actually Wei Jiang themselves are doing an upgrade, kind of an oversized version of the Perfect Effects upgrade kit for the Combiner Wars figures. So their Defensor will definitely be getting the Perfect Effects style kit, but I'd really like that new add-on kit for the Combiner Wars Defensor that kind of replaces the whole chest section of Defensor, makes it look a lot more like his G1 counterpart. I'd really love for those to get oversized as well. Compared to the rest of the Autobot team, it's definitely not completely unbelievable. You've kind of got their main bot of Hotspot. He's a very similar size to MP10. And the rest of the troops are pretty much the same sort of size as your Voyager scale figure, which would be like your standard Autobot carbot. Now, of course, the real question is, how do they look in their combined mode? Well, let's take a look. And here he is fully transformed up. Yes, I know I haven't got him transformed exactly how he's meant to be. I'm just messing around and seeing what kind of looks the most G1. Not entirely sure, I'm convinced with how I've got that set up, but Rook definitely stands out. We definitely need a motorcycle down there. First aid is nice, but this section here is so heavy. I mean, this guy though, he is a truly massive beast of a bot. If we bring in MP10 and Magnus, you see what I mean. He is actually not that bad a scale. I think maybe if you want it in your masterpiece collection, maybe he should be a fraction higher there. But if you want half-decent fillers at a fraction of a cost of anything that third parties or Hasbro or Takara are offering, then these are definitely good substitutes. They can be modified, you could paint them, you could add these add-on kits as they become available, and they're really fun pieces. They've got a good playability scale with them. You can mess around with these, you can mess around with them with your kids, and there's not really high percentage of chance that they're going to get broken. These are just big fun toys. Now, as far as Oversized scale goes, he doesn't quite cut it with the other big boys on the market. I kind of wanted him to square off correctly, I guess, against Bruticus. Those two are the kind of the opposing sides in Season 3. He is, without a doubt, too short to be doing that. He's kind of missing that additional leg section. That'd be everything we need, and he would square off quite nicely against the Jinbao oversized version of Orbitron, which in turn I think is a very good match for Combiner Wars Devastator. Now, before I go, Wei Jiang have also released this guy, which possibly could be an indication that we will be getting their complete Menasor done as well. I do hope so. I don't know if they're going to bother doing a die-cast version of this guy now. I don't know whether they're going to continue to do the die-casts. I mean, with Streetwise, there's next to none in him anyway. Plastic-wise, he doesn't feel any difference. And to be honest with you, he would probably hold a pose better than what First Aid does, just due to the sheer weight. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I don't think die-cast necessarily always makes a figure better. That's just my opinion. It's nice to have it sometimes, but don't skimp out on releasing a figure. Don't halt the release of a figure just to put die-cast in for the sake of having die-cast. I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you have, feel free to give it a big thumbs up, share and subscribe. And until next time, from myself and the oversized Wei Jiang Combiner Wars Defensor, thanks for watching. Goodbye.